You're listening to the Roofing Success Podcast, a show created to inspire roofing contractors to achieve optimal success in their roofing businesses. I'm the host, Jim Moline, the co-author of the book, Internet Marketing for Roofing Contractors, How to Triple Your Sales and Turn Your Roofing Website into an Online Lead Generation Machine. I'm also the co-founder of Roofer Marketers, the digital marketing agency for the roofing industry. On each episode, I'll be sitting down with industry leaders to talk about their processes, the lessons they've learned, and how to find success in roofing. Welcome to another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast. As always, please follow, subscribe, review, share, all of those fun things, because that will help me, us, the Roofing Success Podcast, become an influencer. An influencer. There's a topic for today, right? Becoming an influencer. And we're here with Donavan Morgan and Daniel Filippelli.
Filippelli, exactly.
Filippelli.
We got it.
Of Roofs by Don and Goats for Sales. Thanks for jumping on with me today, guys.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So, like, we've been communicating now for about a year, and I've been watching the things that you guys have been doing on social media and with your business, and you guys have a real unique approach to marketing your services, and what you're doing differently than I think a lot of people have done is you are intentionally working to be an influencer. Like, you have intention to be an influencer. Like, I know there's guys out there like TJ McCormick who have become influencers, right? Adam Bensman, who's an influencer, Dmitry Lipinski, influencers. I don't know if they started out with the intention of, right? Like, now they have the intention, right? They may have more intention, or that intention may have grown, but because of your unique background in like you've had a different intention. So if you want to introduce yourselves and kind of talk a little bit about your backgrounds and how you got, how you got into roofing and where you are now.
Yeah. You want to start? Yeah. I'm obviously Daniel Filippelli, Dan the Mansion for Instagram. I started in the roofing company or roofing industry around 2 years ago. I got in. I was running an office for AT&T door to door. So I've always kind of been knocking on doors, knocking on business doors, or been in a retail space doing sales. I met this guy, taught him a little bit of door to door. He was able to be fortunate to knock on one of the owners of our clients' doors, and kind of like the rest is history. He showed me his first paycheck. It was kind of like seeing is believing, and I ran with it with him, and we haven't looked back since.
Yeah, and same thing as far as coming from a sales background. I had a sales office in Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Coming from the moving industry. Right before that, I was actually doing music. So I was, I was rapping and trying to live that dream. And just with that, as far as with music, how I feel a transition as far as with roofing is more of, looking up to like the moguls and seeing like endorsements like Vitamin Water or, the liquor deals or things like that. And I feel like some of that kind of trickled into, what we're doing right now.
And so let's talk about that a little bit. About that a little bit, because it's different. We think, oh, this is the roofing industry, right? There's nothing sexy about it. There's nothing, right? It's not something that's like that you would think of as like, as far as like an entertainment or sports or all of these other places where people become influencers, right? In music and movies and things like that. They get those endorsement deals, right? Like, they get endorsement deals. They're on commercials. There's all these things going on. They have big sponsors for their events, right? They have huge sponsors for any event that they do. There's all these things. So let's talk a little bit about the things that happen let's say in entertainment, right? The opportunities that they utilize to make money in those areas. So let's start with that.
I mean, I guess it's just the main thing as far as with entertainment. It's about, being the superstar. You're the face, you're the brand. And when you're able to be the brand, you're able to take advantage of it, with different things. So for instance, when they have the superstars, as far as athletes, and they're on the Wheaties box, or when they do the Olympics, or when you have again, rappers usually first they go with the liquors, the champagnes, and now they start making their own, or they start doing their own clothing line, things that's necessarily outside of music, but it's still part of culture, So it makes it not just music, it's culture now. So it's not just roofing, we're doing roofing culture, and culture it looks different. It's not just one thing, it's different. We have different opinions, we have different looks, so sometimes they see me with my goats for sales chain, that's different than a roofer, that's more like a superstar, because we feel like we're superstar roofers, it's just about being the best in your field. So the people that's the best in your field, that's who gets the sponsorships and the endorsements, the LeBron James, the Michael Jordans, and that's just how I guess we feel like we are. So that's why.
Yeah.
Better player plays, better team wins.
Yeah. And that's a different, like, you're playing a different game at the same time. You're not just, you didn't just become salespeople, right? Sales reps. You didn't just become sales reps and go and make your money selling roofs. You have your coaching business, you have other things, but let's talk about, so let's start off. Like, if someone wants to become an influencer in their space, and this is, the internet has opened up, social media has really just blown up opportunities for people, right? So what's the first thing that someone needs to do to kind of get in the game?
Start posting.
To be honest, I think the first thing is to actually want to be an influencer, just like you said. So I think just like you said, what was unique is we came in with the intention of doing that. You're actually, kind of right. Like, as soon as when I was doing music, I was like, hey, I want to be on TV. I want to be on BT. I want to be on magazines. I was actually able to do some of that, but I wasn't the Lil Waynes, the household name, Yeah. So I guess it's kind of like the same thing is like, hey, so if I'm going to be doing roofing, who's the best roofer? And at first, I couldn't name someone, So then it's like, hey, Roofs by Dan the Mansion. That's why we have the names too, I feel like Bob the Builder is the closest person, just construction wise, Bob the Builder. So I'm like, hey, I need to compete with Bob the Builder. I don't need to compete with anyone else. Because just at the end of the day, I feel like whatever I'm doing, or whatever we're doing, we want to be the best at. And I feel like Bob the Builder right now, we're coming for you.
So this is like, what you're saying is you got to decide, right? And there's so many contractors that don't want to be the face, right? They don't want to be the face of their company. They don't want to be on camera. They don't want to be on social media. I think that's a big mistake, especially going forward in 2022. We're in 2022 now, right? Exactly. Facebook is not a new thing. Social media is not a new thing.
Exactly.
MySpace is gone. TikTok is here. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of evolution in this.
Correct.
So let's talk about first is really, if you do decide, hey, I want to become an influencer in my industry, right? Mm-hmm. The first thing that what you guys did, you got on social media, right? Mm-hmm. Like, get on social. If you decide that this is a path for you, get on social media. So we talked about this, Don. Like, get in the game. Right. If you're not playing the game, you don't get a chance, right? You're not. So you have to get in the game, check in.
Same time.
What channels do you think are most, what channels, let's talk about each channel, each social media marketing channel a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then kind of where people should be. So should a roofing contractor be on Facebook?
Yes.
Yes. So what's the audience on Facebook, and who would you like? Because we talked about, like, you have to look at, we haven't talked about it yet, but let's talk about this a little bit first before we go into there. Let's talk about how do you know what kind of content to put out? Who do you try to speak to? How do you define that? How do you figure that out?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the first thing that you got to do is you just got to start posting,
Yeah.
and I think you got to post what is relevant to you and like what you're doing. So don't necessarily try to mimic someone else. Don't necessarily try to mimic Bruce by Don. Bruce by Don and Dan the Mansion, we might be on a hotel roof and we're smiling, we're flying the drone up in the air, we show our chain, show our custom Kruger paws, and then you might have someone else like say Adam Bensman, right? The strategist. And he's in front of his house and he's real more straightforward, but real knowledgeable, dropping gems, and each personality is unique, because everyone is not for everyone, so once you're able to find your audience, now you see what people like, because you're just posting different things, what you're doing, you're posting yourself on a roof or however your approach is, and then you're going to see what people gravitate to, what they start commenting, what they actually start liking. And that's the things that I would suggest to post more, so me, for instance, what we see is unique, this is exclusive for you guys. For instance, like, we take pictures with homeowners, right? And we post pictures with homeowners. Those kind of pictures, we see in those kind of posts, we get more homeowners that respond. And, and especially if we post in the area, if they're familiar with that person, or we post with the homeowner and her kids, then families can relate to that. Oh, they help them, they can help me as well. They kind of see themselves in those people. But when you're posting roofs, and you're posting a hotel or something like that, then you're getting more roofers, the roofing community, to follow you, because they know what that is. If I say, hey, I'm building a 200 square house, a homeowner might not know that, but a roofer is gonna know that. They're like, hey, that's cool, that's impressive, let me follow you. So that's how I guess you find out why are you marketing in the first place. So I guess you need to have an intention, and then that way you can better, target like the audience that you're trying to get.
The audience, yeah. So let's go a little bit deeper into that, because I think this is where, like, I think a lot of contractors get stuck in the what to post. And I think that maybe they don't know what to post because they don't know who they're speaking to.
Correct. And because they don't get in the game and just start posting.
Exactly. And just doing it is phase one. Like, I'm a big fan, and people on the podcast have heard this many times. I'm a big fan in business. The way I like to do business is phase one, do something. Phase two, do something a little better than that. Phase three, do something a little bit better than phase two, right? And you just keep making iterations of it as you go along, right? Like, you just keep evolving into it. But for those analytical types who are just like, man, I can't get started until I know, let's lay this out for someone. So who would be audiences for roofing contractors, right? You'd have homeowners would be one audience.
Mm-hmm.
Roofers, other roofers might be another audience. Property managers, for commercial side,
real estate companies,
real estate companies, things like that. What else? What other ideas we got for them?
General contractors in general, and then
just the everyday person.
Well, not really the everyday person unless they like you. So because the everyday person is not just gonna just follow roofing, like,
that's right.
Yeah. So if they like you though, and you're making it look cool, you're making a snow angel in front of the building, it's just something that's a little different. Then it just might be funny. It might be something, okay, let me see what Dan the Mansion is doing right now. So right. I guess, so it's kind of what you make it.
All right. So I have a good idea here how to, I think, to help people. So let's talk a little bit about what you were talking about, like content for homeowners, right? You want that content so that when the homeowner is scrolling or hits your page, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, whatever it is, that post has to resonate with that homeowner. So you had said that you guys you'll do pictures with the homeowners and their families and things like that. Or any other ideas that you guys do there?
The main thing with the homeowners is it's very raw. So it's not like we have the lights like all put up and we're like, all right, smile this way. And we're taking 40 shots and we're like, all right, let's pick this one. Let's beautify it. No, it's just a raw photo with the customer. And who's ever looking at that, whether it be a customer or somebody else, they're looking and they're like, I could see myself as that customer. And then when they're reading the caption, it's like, hey, this person, Miss Williams, got her roof approved through insurance this way. And they're like, oh my God, I have a roof. I look like her. Yeah, I could definitely see myself being that person too.
Yeah. And that's what you're doing with that. You're putting out imagery and content that is relatable to that person, that makes them feel that way. A past guest on the podcast, Gilad Rubinski of Rubinski Roofing down in Dallas, great company. They do those raw video. They do raw videos with every one of their homeowners, right? Just pull out the phone and have a conversation, right? Hey, how was your experience in working with us? And that gets a lot of engagement. But to your point, like that puts the I guess it's a subliminal message to the other homeowners, right? That, oh, I could work with them, right? That's a good kind of a good thing. So
like you said, hey, I was just speaking with Mr. Jones down the street, but now instead of saying down the street, it's just, on the post, it's like, hey, neighbors.
Yep. It's so bringing that relatability, that's part what you just brought in, a good point. It's how roofing sales get done, right? Hey, we're doing work for the Joneses down the street. We, have you had your roof inspected lately? Like that's roofing sales, right? So now
we're in the
take
age where I was gonna say now we're in the age where everything is social media. So now it's just doing that same exact thing, but putting into the new age where instead of saying down the street on the Instagram, oh, that's my part of town, and it's the homeowner and feeling the familiarity.
So that's an easy thing for people to do. Everyone gets caught up, and Daniel, you made a good point. We don't have the big flashy, like it's not all produced and lights, camera, action, and
not yet.
Just raw footage. Not yet. Yeah.
We're not paying homeowners. We're not paying homeowners to take pictures.
That's right. Like and so, but in that raw footage, that's where people relate to it more. It doesn't look like, I always talk about it, from on the digital marketing side. I see way too many contractors, visual representations of roofing contractors. The dude with the button-up shirt and the yellow hard hat holding a hammer like this, perfect shiny white teeth, like on the gutter, like hammering the gutter, right? Like hammering the gutter, right? Like that. That's not authentic, right? There's no authenticity to that. People don't relate to that. The reason that the cell phone works so well for creating content and for creating engagement is because it's just real. Exactly. It's not produced, right? Not that you can't mix in some really cool produced stuff in between, but there's two parts to it, right? There's the on the spot impromptu shoot, picture or video, and then you can have that fully produced kind of thing in between. Those are your television commercials, right? Like kind of style stuff. So that's for the homeowner, right? So for as a contractor, for the homeowner, put out content that makes other homeowners feel comfortable with doing business with you, that they can see themselves working with you.
Yes.
We talked about for more for attracting or becoming posts that are for roofers or general contractors or other tradespeople. What kind of content would you put out in that situation where you want that? The
first thing that roofers probably think to post, which is a roof. Let me post a roof. That's you're gonna get the roofers because that's who's impressed by that.
Yes.
The regular homeowner isn't impressed just by a roof or the size of a roof.
The size, exactly. The size of the roof you're inspecting, that's impressive to a roofing company. They're doing. Wow, they're inspecting they're doing
TPO. Things in the church, okay. That's roofers.
So then what comes from that? What do you think that brings you? So the content for the homeowner brings you potentially more homeowners to do. So what is that content that you're creating for other roofers or other the general contractors and things like that to attract them to your content. What comes from that?
I think that we're in a great space as far as the roofing industry, where a lot of things is what you make it. So it's what you want to do. It's what your intention is. So if your intention is to be the best known roofer and be in the industry, then you're gonna get a bunch of other roofers. You do impressive stuff. You're gonna gain that community. If you're trying to be in front of conferences, then you have to go to conferences and you have to rub elbows, and then you have to follow them on social media, and then and keep being seen. I guess it depends on what your intention is.
Yeah.
And then that way you can start going towards that.
So I guess the question would be, if you're putting out content for that audience, is, do you want to be an influencer in the roofing industry?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, do you want other contractors to recognize the work that you do, or the company that you built, things like that? So that may be a good way to do it.
I think is, like, if you're trying to get contractors, and it's other roofing companies, then I guess the first question would be, why are you trying to do training? Are you trying to do something like, what are you trying to do, different business with contractors? Yes. Or for instance, like me and Dan the Manch, we got the Lockjaw Ladder Grip. We do influencing for them as well. Are you trying to get roofing products, ladder assist products? What is your intention? And then that way,
So let's talk about that, because that's something that people don't think about. We talked about it in the beginning. When you have this intention of being an influencer, so you have your homeowners that you're marketing to get more homeowner business. Now you have this roofing content that you're putting out that attracts more roofers, but that has led you to opportunities like the Lockjaw Ladder, right? Like, and being sponsored. And this is where we're bringing it all back to, like, the entertainers and the being on the Wheaties box and the product endorsements and things like that. If you are marketing, if you're creating content and influencer content for other roofers, then you have these opportunities. So what are some of the opportunities that have come your way, and how can contractors kind of think about this now? Because it's a different mindset. Being a contractor wasn't getting endorsement deals.
Exactly. I mean, I guess that's just trying to be innovative. So thank you. So when it's Black History Month, they got to say, hey, Roofs by Don did it first as far as influencers. I'm messing with you. I mean, we have Misty Artesian Water. They sponsor us. They do a lot of awareness. So they do awareness for like lupus, for breast cancer, and for natural disasters. So they sponsor us because we're in the storm restoration. We're making homeowners whole again from windstorms, from hailstorms. And because they do the natural disasters, it made sense.
It makes sense, yeah.
And to me, that's kind of like my Vitamin water, 50 Cent, and he has his Vitamin water. So now we got our Misty Artesian Water. I've got to get Misty Artesian Water, especially if you're doing the insurance claims. Also, we have the Lockjaw Ladder Grip. Dan mentioned, made some cool videos too about it, as far as how it gives ladder safety, how it protects people from falling off the roof, from getting onto and off the ladder safely. How many views you get? You got a couple 100,000 views.
A little over 200,000 views on my video that I did. Kind of like it was like funny as well as informational on how to use it. We're going to be presenting this at Win the Storm conference. We're going to have our own booth. So it's going to be really cool. We're going to be able to kind of show the roofing community how it works, how to purchase it and everything like that. So it actually does work very, very well. We've given a lot away to adjusters.
Lattices.
Okay. Yep.
And then hearing stories about it, how it saves multiple people's lives, and I guess the story behind it is really amazing.
Yeah, and they're based out of Australia, so they're not based in the United States. Yeah, so we're the first, United States influencers. I like being the first of stuff. I like being the first.
Yeah.
If you can't tell.
Yeah. So as far as that, it's something that's big. You're gonna hopefully everyone starts seeing it more and more.
Yeah.
You know, and that means we're doing our job.
Yep. And so these are the opportunities that creating an audience and developing content for other roofing contractors.
Mhm.
These are the type of opportunities. So people don't think about this type of stuff. Like a lot of times they'll do it, for, their coaching business or things like that. But there's products that will endorse you at the same time, which is just something that I don't think you're like, man, but I'm not a sports star. I'm not a, right? Like,
That's why. So the ones that say that I'm not a sports star, then it's probably not for them. The ones that say I'm a superstar, I'm a sports star, and then they're in the roofing industry, so I'm gonna be a sports star in my industry too.
Be the star of your industry. Yeah.
And that's all it is. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I feel like we're the stars of whatever industry we're in. We happen to be in roofing. So Roofs by Don and Dan the Mansion.
Yeah.
You might see us on HGTV. If you on the own channel, or you might see us on Tyler Perry. You might start a home improvement channel. You never know. We're gonna be the first ones.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's
Tyler
right. I know Marcus Lemonis is coming out with a new show about contractors too. So there's like the profit. So there's lots of opportunities. There's lots of opportunities in that space.
You gotta get
and you can do that. Like, so that could be an aspiration, right? And that could be something that generates more business for your company, but it could also be kind of a separate project on its own at the same time. You guys talk about, your Dan the Mansion and Roofs by Don and got the chains and doing these things. And you may not look like what someone thinks a roofer looks like, right? Or someone in the roofing business. But that's all about just being yourself, right?
Exactly. That's it. That's what the whole thing is. Roofing. One thing that we like to say with Goes for Sales, we like to be dream facilitators. So once people get into the roofing industry, we don't want that to kill your dreams or kill who you are as a person. Usually when people think of roofing, you probably think of what I usually say is like Santa Claus on his day off when he's not delivering presents. he's a roofer, but roofing industry is for everyone. It's a great opportunity, and you can look however, your personality, you be yourself. So I used to rap, I like urban clothes, things like that. I like designer clothes. Thankfully, roofing is able to provide that. You don't have to be a rapper. You could actually just do roofing and you could get everything that you wanted. That's so cool, So that's what, we show people, so that way they can be themselves, but they can just learn that there's a lot of money to be made in this industry.
Yeah. And there's so much opportunity in the industry, and there's so many different styles, right? There's so many different people that have found success in roofing. That's why I love like this show and interviewing contractors. I interview all kinds of people, right? Like from all kinds of backgrounds and all kinds of, from people who just immigrated to the country, from people who have, like across like all everything, cowboys to rappers to, like everyone, right? And there's opportunity for everyone in it. A lot of times we don't look at, we don't look at, and I kind of heard it in what you were saying, is you're not looking at roofing as the business. It's, you are in business and the product is roofing.
Exactly. It's just the product. Exactly.
It's a change in mindset that, hey, I am a business owner. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an influencer. And then this is my product, right? This is the product that I'm in, or the business that we're in, the product that we sell. And so we kind of talked about a lot of this stuff, like the opportunities are kind of endless, right? Like there's HGTV and different things that are like coming up that you guys are, hey, let's put out a show, let's create a show, and then potentially get picked up by a network or something like that.
Or be our own network.
Or be your own network. Exactly. I was talking to you about a friend of mine who owns a digital marketing agency. We're in a mastermind group together. His name is Matt Plapp. Shout out Matt Plapp. America's Best Restaurants. So go to YouTube, and he created his own show on YouTube. He has a couple hundred episodes now going around the country featuring America's best restaurants. And he did that just because that was a passion of his. He does marketing for restaurants, but that's what he created. He created a show for that. I've had them on a couple times. The guys from True North Construction, they have all kinds of shows. They're almost an HGTV show themselves, right? They have a videographer that comes out with them sometimes, but it's not just like the before and after of something. It's the guys joking around at lunch, and it's the right, exactly. Like it's the interaction on a day-to-day basis. Their personalities and all of those things come from that. But what that does in the end, a lot of all of this participation and being in the game and becoming an influencer, it leads to more business, right? So that's the main thing here, is that you have to understand that putting yourself out there will lead to great things. It will open up opportunities that you have never thought existed. Even we were talking about, I know you guys do a lot of recruiting. You help with recruiting and sales training in the Goats for Sales, right? To me, this is my thoughts on this, is that, like you had said early on, like you looked around your area and you were like, who is the best known roofer, right? Like I don't see them. But by putting yourself out there, you're creating this brand on social media, and people can be attracted to that brand. They may want to work for you. So from a recruiting perspective, right? They may want to work for you before they even submit an application.
Naturally, especially if if you're showing success, just naturally, just things that look
showing
like
the opportunity, right?
Yeah,
like you're showing them that,
showing stuff, go-karts, or I would say, like me, that's sort of my personality. You might see me wearing, a designer, something like that.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, that's cool. Hey, what do you do? I do roofing. And then right there, that's an opportunity, as far as, to bring people in. It's kind of like the Wolf of Wall Street. When he's like, hey, show me your paycheck right now.
I'll quit my job.
I'll quit my job right now.
Quit my job right now. Right.
Hey,
and that's what you did, right? Isn't that what just happened? What happened with you guys? Isn't that what you did, Daniel?
100%. That's exactly what happened. Yes. Yeah.
Wolf of Roofing. That's
and so for contractors out there that are struggling on their recruiting side, it may be that they are not marketing the opportunity to work with them. So how could, what are some ideas for the contractor then, right? So they're marketing to the homeowner, they're marketing to other roofers if they want to be an influencer in the industry. What about marketing their company, influencing potential employees? What would be some suggestions you have in that regard?
Get a consultation from Goats for Sales.
Don't give them the sauce.
Give them the sauce, bro. You're on roofing success. Let it out loud.
just be yourself.
Be yourself.
It's really about being yourself.
Celebrate your wins.
Being yourself attracts other people.
Yeah.
It attracts people that want to be part of your tribe. So
tribe. That's a good book about that. Have you Seth Godin, is that his book? I think it's his book. Tribes talks about that, like about building your tribe. And there's really something there, right? That you'll find that you'll attract people to work in your business that sometimes have a lot of similar interests, even outside of roofing. Exactly. Right, than you do, right? And so in doing that, in putting out more on social media than just, right? Like I've seen the holidays have come and passed, right? So I've seen a lot of really cool holiday parties being posted on social media from roofing companies. My friend Nick Brandon from Hero Roofing, like they created the what was it? The Roofies. Like they created like an award show for their company and did
That's
a
real
whole
cool.
thing with it, right? And when you see that type of stuff on social media, you're like, oh man, that could be a fun company to work for.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
People aren't always looking for the paycheck, right? They're looking for that connection that they, you
Culture.
don't want to just go in and grind it out every day and, be in a place that kind of, kills your dreams, what you were saying before. Like you want to have, so having that expression. And Daniel, you said something about celebrating your wins. You threw that one in there. I heard you. You threw that one in there real quick. Like just
He's
like,
Oh man.
No, I guess
No.
that the biggest thing for us is whether it's a small win or big win, we like to celebrate our contractors, our employees. If they're
Yeah.
doing well, we love to post them. They love it. Their friends love it. So I mean, it's just a way to get more people involved and kind of see what you're doing and see other people's success rather than just our success.
yes,
And the only people that hate on it is the people that are jealous. They want to get sales too. So everybody
right.
wants to get sales. So don't be afraid of posting your sales. Don't make it feel like, oh, I'm bragging. You're not bragging. You're
Yeah.
proud of yourself. You're celebrating what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's it, So
Yeah. And if you want to do it in your own style, do it in your own style. Right. Like I
in your
see
own
stuff.
way.
Some guys will post those commission checks, right? Some reps will post their commission checks. And, hey, look what I did this week. And that's one way of doing it. Another way of celebrating that win is talking to that homeowner
Correct.
and telling the story of how you helped that homeowner from beginning to end. You may not have to show the check, but you could show your success in your own way. Right.
Another
Like
way
however
is
you feel comfortable with it. Right.
Yeah, I was gonna say like another way is like Joshua Bigger, Lord Big Time. He
Yes.
celebrates his wins. You see making a commercial. You see him with Primeline Tools on a big roof.
Yeah.
And he's
That's
like, I'm in shingles. And now hey, that's your shingles that you're promoting. What shingle is
That's
that?
right.
That's him celebrating his win. So everybody has their own way of doing it.
That's right.
Roof Hustlers, he celebrates his wins like, hey, the D2 DCon 5 Hustler of the Year. He's
That's
able to
right.
show it. So everybody has their ways, yeah. So that's it.
But in doing that, in celebrating the wins, another way of celebrating your wins is if you're out doing community work, right? If you're out in the community, you had said that the water that sponsors you guys, like they do a lot of, right? Like they do a lot of disaster recovery stuff and all of that. Like focusing on that's attractive to people to, in your company, like all of the things that you do, and it can be authentically you. Don't let it be someone else's version of what you think you should be posting on social media. Let it be your own, right? Let it be your own, be yourself. And that's how you'll develop the following that is unique to yourself, building your tribe. I want to ask both of you a question separately, right? So it's the same question, but each individually. Daniel, we'll start with you, man.
Okay.
What do you think the greatest insight that you could share with our audience is to help them find success in roofing?
It's a good question. I'm a big quote person, so I guess kind of how we were saying, you have to start posting, you have to start doing the things. We like to say you have to do some money making activities. So always trying to, you don't have to be great to start, you have to start to be great, right? And I feel like that's a big thing in any industry, but I would say in the roofing industry, just get acclimated in everything roofing, whether it's knocking on doors, whether it's going to a conference, whether it's talking to different companies. Just get acclimated in the industry, start looking up videos. Like I said before, everything that we do, there's some type of motive behind it, and it's a money-making activity. So I would say that's definitely a big thing for us. Awesome.
Okay, and then
Donavan,
question one more time, so that way I can answer.
That's right. So what insight can you share with our audience that you feel will help them find success in roofing?
I would say Be a student of the game, and always be learning. So, I guess the first thing first is like what kind of roofing. So we do mostly storm restoration, insurance claims, right? So the first thing, identifying storm damage, finding out what it is, and not just depending on your company. We haven't had the luxury of, having someone actually teach us how to do it. We had to be students and have to go on YouTube, adjusters, and ladder assists, sometimes when you're cool with them and, you follow them, see what they're doing and you learn from them. That's who really is like the best teachers. You're like, hey, what's that? Hey, that's blistering. Oh, okay. And I know, just things like that. Yeah, and I was just say always be learning and just be consistent. If you're, money making activities, so if every day you're going towards your goal, you're gonna have to see success. You're gonna have to find this law of averages, But if you're not doing it every day, you're not being consistent, then you're gonna get inconsistent results.
For sure. Donavan Morgan, Daniel Filippelli.
Yeah.
Roofs by Don.
Hey.
Dan the Mansion. Go check them out. Goats for Sales. This has
Yes,
been
yes.
another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast. If you would like to generate more sales through your digital marketing efforts, please visit roofermarketers.com and get a copy of the book, Internet Marketing for Roofing Contractors: How to Triple Your Sales and Turn Your Roofing Website into an Online Lead Generation Machine. Also, check the training section of the website for guides on everything from running effective pay-per-click ads to how to properly set up your Google My Business listing. This has been another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast. Thanks for listening.